Hello there. Happy Tuesday to you. I hope you all are having a great day. Anyway, I was just inspired to come on here and do a quick little live video about living in harmony with wildlife, right? And how just how important that is for so many reasons. So before my parents moved to where they're living at now, they lived on a beautiful 10 acres out in Applegate, Oregon. It's so beautiful. So they had all kinds of quail that would frequent, turkeys, and when baby turkeys, and all other kinds of wildlife, and then birds and everything, and deer. They had a lot of deer. So what was really cool is they would have I believe it was in the spring where the new fawns would be born, and that it was just so beautiful to see all the deer. And what was really cool is my parents on their property, they created like that safe sanctuary and haven for the deer. So it was cool, is in their front yard they had like a little water bucket that they put water for the deer, and also too they would frequently throw out apples for the deer, and so the deer could feast on the apples, and sometimes pears, which was so amazing, right? So it was like living in harmony, and then they'd eat the leaves off of other plants, and it was always that safe haven that they could go to my parents, and then they could walk on the back part of their property and go into the creek for water and all of that, and then there was shade that they can lay in. My parents had two little metal carports, and sometimes underneath the carports the deer would lay there, or they'd lay behind their barn, and they lay there with safety for themselves, and sometimes with their babies when their babies were born. And it was so amazing, and just it was so great, and it was so nice to have that close interaction. And my parents now have since sold their property, because it was 10 acres is a lot to maintain, right? So anyway, they moved closer to town just to make it a little bit easier, right? So they don't have all that property maintained. So anyway, they had, and hello, who's ever listening, I'm glad to connect with you guys here. So anyway, so the people that bought my parents' property, they came from another state. They came from Arizona. So definitely, a different climate from moving to Arizona to Southern Oregon, definitely different, some different things, right? So anyway, what they had done is we now have recently discovered they had changed the fencing. So my parents had like this little, like kind of like little short little fencing that was really cool. It's like my dad had made it with like sticks and branches. It was so cool, like beautiful, along the front part of their property. It was like so inviting and welcoming to people that would drive by, and welcoming to the deer and the other animals as well that would pass by. Well, the people that have bought the property, they actually went and behind the fence that my dad had done, is they went and put up like a 6-foot fence. So it's like over like a 6-foot fence. And where they lived out there, there's beautiful tall trees and just gorgeous. So they like basically block themselves out. There's like all this tall fencing that's up, and then they have a gate that they put on the front. The gate isn't as tall, and I think they leave it open and closed sometimes. But the sad thing is now that they have that fencing, the deer, my parents lived there for over 20 years, so the deer were used to going there and being able to have that safe place to go, right? It was always their little refuge, right, to be able to go there. So now that refuge has been taken away, since there's no way the deer can climb, jump that 6 feet fence. And then it's like, to me, that takes away from the beauty of living in the country, right? Because living in the country, you want to be able to have that view. And it's, maybe okay if they need to, fence off some areas. I get that, but it's so important to really come from a place of living in harmony with nature too, because the deer were able to go and forage on like leaves and apples and have that water source from the bucket that my parents had, and then the creek, right? They were able to have that safe sanctuary, right? And it's like, the way I look at it is the animals we're encroaching on their habitat and coming into their habitat. So I think it's really important to live in harmony with them. And of course, maybe if you have a garden, you don't want them to get to. My parents did have like their fenced in, garden where they grew, carrots and potatoes and tomatoes and all different kinds of stuff. They had grapes and it was really cool. But they had that, separate little fenced in area. And then the deer had the rest of the property. And it was always so peaceful just to go out there and be amongst the deer and all the other animals, the quail and the turkey and all of that. So I just wanted to come on just to remind you that, it's really important to live in harmony with nature like that. And, it's like that was a part of their food source too. And they were used to going there. So now it really breaks my heart. And I just feel so much sadness that the deer aren't able to, go there anymore to have that refuge too, and a lot of times too, another thing too is, deer can get injured a lot by fencing, jumping into it and, trying to, jump over it too. That can create a lot of like, injuries and whatnot for them. So yeah, so I just invite you to live in harmony with nature and embrace all of nature's beauty and really live in harmony with nature and the wildlife that is around you where you're at, right? Because the animals and wildlife, they depend on us, right? They depend on us. So anyway, that's all I wanted to come and share with you. I hope that you all have a really great rest of your day. Oh, hi, Brenda. Good to see you. Good to see you, friends. So yeah, I hope that you all have a great rest of your day. And remember, embrace nature and wildlife and just realize that connection that we all have together with nature and wildlife and animals. And it's important for us to be respectful and have them have their space too. So anyway, that's all that was on my heart that I wanted to come and share with you. Oh yeah, and Brenda says this is so true and important. People in Arizona forget that. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Because maybe they came from a different area and maybe they're not used to. Yeah, people get it. Yep, exactly. Maybe they're not used to that wildlife, but there's just something so peaceful just to being able to connect with that wildlife and the trust that, when we would throw apples for the deer. I have so many good memories of us staying there and being able to throw apples for the deer and how they would just trust and know that they were safe there, right? That they had that safe place. And that's so important. And it's really sad because now the area where my parents were there in Applegate, a lot of people are putting up those that deer fencing and all of that. And it's just really disheartening to see that, right? Because it's important for them to have those places, especially if we come to their area. It's so important to let them have that space. And to me, that's one of the reasons you would want to go live in the country, right? To enjoy like not just the fresh country air, but being amongst the nature and all that its beauty and the wildlife, right? There's something really with that. And Brenda says, we have a lot of wildlife, but people get afraid and kill them. I know, isn't that so sad? I know it's so sad that happens, and it's people just don't learn to embrace them and that communication and connection we can have with the wildlife. And it's like I feel like they want to remind us to live more in harmony with them, and we don't always as humans listen to that, right? We don't always listen and hone in on that. And I think it's really important to listen and hone in on that. It's so important. So yeah, so that was just my little reminder. And thank you for all of you that I know tune in and listen to what I do for living in harmony with nature and wildlife and the connection that you have with the animals. And I'd love to hear about Brenda says, absolutely, I agree. Yeah, I would love to hear maybe stories, like if you want to post in the comment of maybe what your favorite wild animal in the wild is your wildlife animal? Like, is it, do you really connect to like the deer or squirrel or quail or turkeys or raccoons or, whatever? Oh my gosh, there's so many different ones out there. Like, what do you really connect with, right? It's just, I loved the deer so much. I used to just sit on the front porch and just watch the deer. And to me, that was the deer TV, I called it. It was so peaceful just to sit out there. And when I had my Luna out there, we would just sit out there and watch them. And it was really important. And this brings another important thing that I wanted to address too. Really, I think it's important for people to teach their children and even as adults to remember this, to not chase animals and not chase like birds. I can't tell you how many times like I've been and Sharon says, I love all animals, Shauna, no favorites. Exactly. I love that, Sharon. I love that. All your favorites. I second that. That's amazing. But I can't tell you how many times I've been to the coast and you see like, kids chasing seagulls and that just, and they think like it's so funny and it's so cute and it's really not. Like, it's really just not nice. A couple of weeks ago, I was out by the waterfront by where I live, and there's these ducks just like hanging out there and chilling. And there were these like two people, they're like probably in their 20s, and they went closely toward them with their foot and they kind of like stomped and ran toward them to chase them away. And like, I just don't know, like, what is wrong with society and people thinking that that's like okay to do that, right? Because that's just not okay. Because how would you feel if somebody came and startled you like that and startled you like that, and you're just not doing anything and you're just being? It's like, if we can come to that place and remember to just be, and to be kind, to be more kind, right? I think people need to really learn to be more kind, because I just, oh my gosh, when I see things like that, it just hurts my heart and it makes me so sad. And I think we can teach people more as children to really learn how to embrace the wildlife and nature, and even as adults too. Like, look at what we can learn from them and just how wise and unconditional they are, and just how they just are in that moment, right? They just live in the moment. So I think it's important. And so Brenda says, thank you, Shauna. It is awesome hearing you today. I love all wildlife. Snakes, I watch from afar. Laugh out loud, right? Yeah, with snakes, you definitely want to watch from afar. And you bring a really interesting point, Brenda, and I'm glad that you brought that up. It's about being respectful of nature too. You see those people that try to like take selfies with nature and all of this, and it's like, come on, don't do that. Just like enjoy them from afar. Like, sure, if you want to snap a picture, but be mindful and be respectful. I feel like that's really important. So thank you for bringing that up, because I feel like that's really important. And let's see here, Brenda says, we had a coyote caught on camera playing with a dog. They killed the coyote because he was having fun with a dog. Ooh, oh my gosh, that's awful that they did that. See, and it's like, oh my gosh, I just don't get that that mindset and that mentality of like, why somebody would do that for just like playing with the dog. It's like, we have a lot to learn from animals and wildlife in particular about living in harmony. And we could actually take that even with people too, us living in more of harmony with each other instead of the judgments that we put out there sometimes, right? We can really just take a step back and just say, okay, like, let me connect in with my heart and my heart space, and just come from that space of being respectful and kind and being harmonious with one another, right? And just kindness. It's like, to be a kind human and a kind person, right? It's so so important, right? It's so important. And you can see my dog Cool up there. I don't know. She thinks that she's digging a tunnel in the couch. She like thinks she has to make the perfect spot. It cracks me up. And see here, Brenda says, this was our wildlife people that made the decision. I was so mad. Yeah, I see. Like, sometimes I think that I don't know. I don't always agree with the decisions that they make like that, and I don't understand why they make those certain ones. Sometimes it's just I don't get it. It's like, come on, it just breaks my heart. I feel like there's got to be other alternatives and better alternatives instead of just that. And we can, here I communicate with all animals and people's pets is what I do, but we can all communicate with wildlife too. So say if you have maybe like a wildlife animal that you're like, okay, hey, I don't want that mole to dig in my yard. Just, communicate with that mole. Like, keep seeing that mole go somewhere else and live more in harmony, right? There's so many different things that we can do with that. I think sometimes we just jump to maybe fear instead of like really connecting with our hearts and connecting with like how we can be in harmony, right? So I think it's really important. And I'm so blessed that I have all my beautiful people on here that follow and listen to me, that all of you, how you're connected with animals and nature, and how you help to be the ambassadors, because they need us as their ambassadors and their voice, right? We need to help shine all of that love to them, right? It's so important. And see here, it says that Brenda says, a bear comes out for water, they kill it. I just don't understand people or how they can do that with no thought. Breaks my heart. Exactly. I don't get that either. And it doesn't make any sense to me. It breaks my heart, because if you live out in nature, in the country, it should be the anticipation that that wildlife is going to be there, and it's like, how can we live in harmony with that wildlife? I feel like that's really really important, and I feel like there has to be maybe better education with that, or better programs, or better things like that to really help be more ambassadors for the wildlife out there. And there is a lot of great organizations doing a lot of great things for wildlife and wildlife education, and it's so important, and it's a topic that's definitely near and dear to my heart, because I just love all animals, the winged ones, the ones that aren't the winged ones, just all animals. I just love them so much. So we could really learn a lot from them. So anyway, so that was my little soapbox, so to speak, that I wanted to get on. That was something that was on my heart that I wanted to just share with you. So thank you for those of you that are listening now, and then thanks to those of you that listen to the replay as well. I appreciate you guys all so much. And then remember, let's see. Oh, Brenda says, I always say here, we moved into their home. Exactly, Brenda. Amen. Exactly. It's so true. Yeah, we got to keep habitats for them still open. Actually, by where I live, there's this beautiful wildlife refuge that I go to, and it's so cool. There's so many birds and deer and all other kinds of wildlife there, and it's so cool. I treasure going there, and it's really amazing to see how many people are out there that just enjoy being with that and connected to nature. It's so powerful and so inspiring to be connected and one with nature. It's so important. So yeah, I appreciate you guys all so much for listening. And then remember, every Sunday at 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, I do my free live animal communication reading. So I hope to see you all again on Sunday. And who knows, maybe I might just pop in before Sunday, because I'm trying to do some more live videos of just popping in and connecting with you all, because I just love connecting with you all so much. And thank you again for being the amazing souls that you are. And I hope you have a great rest of your week. And then also too, on my Facebook business page and on my Instagram page, I do this pick a card thing on every Tuesday. So I have these different animal decks, and I actually have 3 of them that I put out there today 3 different cards, so you can go and pick the card you're drawn to, and then tonight I will reveal what each card it is. So if you're wanting some more connection that way, feel free to check that out. And Brenda says, thank you, Shauna. Have a beautiful day. See you then. Still looking for Milo. Oh, you're welcome. And I hope you guys all have a beautiful day. And yes, keep that search out there. Don't give up, which I know you're not. So that's it's really great that you're not giving up. So, and then Sharon says, thanks for being an advocate for the animals. Oh, you're welcome, Sharon. It's my pleasure. It's so important. So, and I have some ideas of some different ways of how I can reach more people with messages like that. So I'll keep you posted on that. So it might have to do with writing. So there you go. So I'll just leave that little teaser there for you, and much love to all of you, and thank you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in. Bye for now.